It doesn't matter. Like, there's no distinction, ironically, between, silly things that are kind of irrelevant. You're still distinguishing with that structure. And then the most important things in your life that you're distinguishing.
Serious.
Your goals, what your marriage is constituted of.
Well, even just like who you are.
Who you are.
Like, that's
who your friends are. What job you're going to do in life. All those things are requiring this identity other distinction making.
Yes. Okay, so then we saw that people can and do make identity. Then we wanted to test or see where they might have difficulty with the other, the concept of the other. So we did, if you remember, the orange polyhedra.
Yep.
And let me just
like a cube.
There was an image of an orange cube
on a white background.
On a white background, and people were asked to click on
the cube.
Yep. Or the white space.
Yep.
Or not the cube, or not the white space.
Yes. And so what we see is kind of a heat map of their clicks.
That's right.
In a statistical heat map of their clicks. Mm-hmm. And what we were able to learn about this is, first of all, like you might expect, people have a very easy time clicking on the cube when asked to click on the cube, right?
Yes.
They have a very easy time clicking on the white space.
Yes.
When they're asked to click on the white space.
Yes.
Right? They have a slightly more difficult time clicking on the not cube and the not white space.
They had the hardest time clicking on the not cube. So on the not white space, their numbers were, slightly lower. Right. But on the not object, it went down to 50% of people who could actually click it.
What's happening there is anytime it's object-oriented, click on the cube is an object.
Yeah.
Click on the not white space is an object.
Yes.
Right? Because you're clicking on the cube. That's the only other thing that you can click on.
Right.
So in those two cases, the click map was much more concentrated.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When asked to click on the white space, the other, or the not white space, the not cube, which is the white space.
Yeah, that was the hardest.
Those are the hardest, but still, you had great success in all four conditions.
In the not object, it actually went down 30%.
30%. Yeah.
What you're saying is, we are very object-oriented in our thinking.
Yes.
So it's easier to recognize an other if it's an object.
Yes.
But if it's not an object and it's the other, we struggle more with that.
For sure. So, for example, if we're asked to find Waldo, pretty easy. Where's Waldo? If we're asked to point to the goat, pretty easy to point to a goat because it's an object. Mm-hmm. But if we're asked to point to customer value, that's not an object-oriented concept or distinction. Mm-hmm. So the distinction is going to be much grayer in your teams, for example.
Yes.
When you're dealing with things that are not kind of object-oriented. In science, we call that construct validity, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy for us to all point to a goat or point to a book.
Yeah.
Because they're objects.
Yeah.
But much more difficult to say, what is empathy? What is customer value? What is, some of these more complex ideas? They certainly exist, right?
Yeah.
But they're much harder to find the edge that defines them, right? It's much fuzzier.
Yeah.
And this research sort of showed that in very clear terms.